my YouTube folks. I was going to try and get 3 videos out today, so I've done 2. I was kind of struggling with the 3rd, and then I found this old topic in my notes here. I'm going to try and go through this one quick, and this is completely different from the stuff I've been talking about lately. This is guitar stuff people say that isn't true or not really relevant, and a lot of these are in my opinion, but I'm gonna try and go through these on the quick side. So number 1, a lot of people say locking tuners don't do anything, but I find most of the people who say that aren't using their locking tuners properly. You're not supposed to have any wraps around your locking tuners. Can you set regular tuners up to be pretty reliable even with a tremolo? Yeah, you can, but locking tuners make that a lot easier. But again, you need to have the most minimal number of wraps possible. You should have just a straight line from the tuner to the tremolo. If you have that wrapped up like a normal tuner, then of course you're not going to notice a difference because you're just not using the locking tuner properly. So give that a try next time you're setting up your locking tuners. Use some cards to set your tremolo level if you can, and I usually let the guitar hang by the string for a minute before I lock it down. I think you'll find that they actually do work pretty well. They're not necessary, I guess, but I just find they work better than standard tuners with a tremolo. On a non-trem equipped guitar, it's neither here nor there in my opinion. Number 2, people say modeling is shitty and just not as good as a real amp. I have a Boss GX100 modeler here, and I've had a Zoom G3 in the past, and I beg to differ. Modeling's gotten very popular. It's gotten to where most people can't really tell the difference, and frankly, you're paying. You're usually playing to a bar full of semi-drunk people. It's not like they're going to be able to tell, and you really minimalize what you need to carry around. You can also do a hybrid setup like I do. I run my modeler through a Boss VT100 FXH, which is a solid-state head with virtual tube technology in it, and the other side is run through a little 15-watt orange micro tare, which is a hybrid amp in itself. I usually just use it as a clean amp for running the modeler through. So if you haven't tried out modeling recently, go ahead and give it a try. Number 3, I just don't think tone wood's that relevant. It might be a thing, but again, a lot of people have tried this out on YouTube. I feel like your amp and your pickups matter a lot more than tone wood. They make guitars out of all kinds of things, and as long as you have good pickups and a good amp, your guitar could almost be made out of anything, and you could get it to sound good. Strings also make a big difference. Like Ernie Ball Cobalts have a completely different sound than, say, boomers, GHS boomers, for example, which have a completely different sound to nickel-based strings. So there are a few things that you need to narrow down there. Number 4, you need a high wattage amp. I don't think so, especially if you have a good, like if you're playing a bigger venue, you can just mic up through the PA or run your modeler directly into the PA. A lot of people do that now, but this little 15-watt micro tare orange is really loud. It's louder than I would ever really need it to be. And the thought of turning that thing up to full, diming out like both both the level, the volume, and the gain knob is just like I'd have people complaining. A 15 watt amp is loud. Number 5, Chinese pickups are just as good as say American pickups. I don't think that's the case. They are all right. They certainly come in all kinds of, say, wiring configurations and colors, which is nice, but they're not very, most of them kind of mimic, like, say, a 16K tone zone, or like a 16K JB and like an 8K neck pickup. And in fact, I think if you want to make your neck pickup a Chinese pickup, that's fine. They for me, they work really well as neck pickups, but I really prefer like a good SD or Vermilion or DiMarzio. I'm a big DiMarzio guy. Although I don't have many DiMarzios, there are a lot more SDs out there. In like used guitars you buy, you're going to mainly find SDs. But my Strat here actually has all name brand pickups in it. It has an SD cool rails. It has a DiMarzio tone zone in the middle, and an SD JB in the bridge. Yes, DiMarzio and Seymour Duncan in the same guitar, which is like a sin. But then my brother's guitar has all Guitar Fetish pickups in it, and they may not have as much output, but they do sound good, and with some amp adjustment, they're not bad. But I really think that the name brand pickups sound a little better. A couple of the pickups in his guitar have been discontinued, so there is that. Number 6, Squier sucks. My Strat right here is in fact a Squier. It's a Squier Affinity, the newer ones from the 2020s. This is a 2021, so being that it's a COVID guitar, it has some production issues. But I mean, a Strat, that's an actual Fender Strat pickguard, and it fits it. I've done a level and crown on it and put locking tuners on it, and there's really no way that you can tell that it's not just a Stratocaster. In fact, a lot of famous people now have signature Squiers, and recently there's a picture of Mike Rutherford from Genesis playing a Squier Strat live. You could say the same thing for Epiphones. They've really come a long way as guitars, and as long as you can get your ego past what's on the headstock, you're probably going to throw, most people are going to throw new pickups in their guitar anyway, so it's kind of 6.5 dozen. Number 7, solid state amps suck. Tell Dimebag Darrell that. Tell anybody that uses a high watt that. I have my Behringer VT100 head over there, and the power supply to my modeler died. I guess it got wet or something. And just because I've been using a modeler through it, I had that EQ on the Behringer kind of nickeled out. But after I adjusted the EQ, I'm pretty happy with the channels I have on it. I'm not so sure I'm a fan of the British sound, really. I don't like the distortion, the gain that the orange Microtear has, but as a clean amp, it sounds amazing. Its clean section is all tube, so it sounds really, really good. Although the way they have it set up, it is very difficult to use just its clean section without a little bit of gain thrown in. I have the gain at like 5 or 10% just so I can hear the clean section of it. Solid states come a long way. You absolutely don't need a tube amp. You're going to save a lot of weight an all-tube head is massively heavy. I mean, you can like separate your elbow carrying one of those around. But that Behringer solid-state head is considerably lighter. I wouldn't want to carry it all day either, but if I had a choice, I'd carry that around. And the last one on the list, I only have 8. Parts guitars suck. No, they don't. It just depends on the parts, and a lot of it is in the setup. And I mean, think about it. What would you rather play live? Your $1,000 Charvel and watch it get all messed up, or, you know, a parts guitar that has relatively the same components in it? You know, there are going to be haters in the crowd, probably. In fact, when I was a kid, I remember telling some guy that he needed to get a real guitar. And when I was at a place called, I forget what this place was called, but it was a really popular music venue in Harlingen, Texas, where I was raised. And I kind of mouthed off to the guy for playing an Epiphone, but yeah, and he basically told me to shut my face. And thinking back on it now, that was a really good sounding guitar. You know, and then he also had like a parts Strat that he played, which had great equipment in it, but because I didn't know any better, I just thought because it was a parts guitar, it wasn't any good. And a lot of the parts qualities have gone up in the past. So there you go. There's 8 things that guitar people tend to say and think that I don't think are really that important, especially more today, when manufacturing has kind of gone. I mean, guitars from today are better built than guitars from the past. I hate to say it that way, but, you know, CNCing has gotten really a lot better. You know, a 1954 Strat was built by a guy in an unair-conditioned warehouse who was probably really hairy and not even wearing a shirt. I'm not even kidding. Look at the videos. And, you know, the tolerances on those older instruments are all over the place. One neck might feel, you know, immensely thinner than the next. It's all kind of how much they hit it with the sander, how fresh was the sanding disc and belt and stuff. The tolerances are much more controlled these days. Anyway, thanks for watching. Consider subscribing, and have yourselves a good day. Going on running out.